Well, in today's video, it is all about the Hawk Helium climbing stick. Which is the right stick for you? Is it the original 30-inch stick? Maybe the brand new Hawk Helium Mini that's a 20-inch stick? Or maybe it's something in between, a modified Hawk Helium stick. Well, we're going to be getting into all kinds of information here today. The specifications, what are the actual real-world weights? Seems there's a lot of discrepancy on what these sticks actually weigh. We're going to be getting into that. This ought to be very informative. Stick around. I'm going to show you some of the modifications I have made and what you can get directly from the factory from Hawk Helium. Let's get into it. Let's take an in-depth look here at the Hawk Helium climbing sticks. About 4 months ago, I put out a video on my mobile setup, what I've used the last 2 seasons, I believe, and it included these Hawk Helium climbing sticks to climb up to my mobile platform. If you want to see a link to that video, I'll put a link right up there, and there'll also be one down in the description. But in that video, I was getting a lot of questions about the modifications that I made to my stick and what are the best options for a Hawk Helium. And this is a viewer request. I think it was JL250X asked me, can you do a more in-depth review of these sticks, show what modifications I made and what the options are directly from Hawk. So here is this video. I hope you find it informative, and I hope it makes the decision if you're thinking of buying a Hawk Helium climbing stick a little bit easier and knowing exactly what you're going to get. I am in by no way, shape, or form sponsored or paid by Hawk Helium. It's just a product that I use, and I'm going to share some of the information that I have learned over the years. But first things first, safety is number one, so here's my disclaimer. Any modifications you make to the stick is going to immediately void your warranty. Please, you're going to be assuming 100% of your risk. Know what you're using, know what for climbing rope you're using, what the ratings are. Do your homework, and like I said, you are assuming the risk. I am not a professional, and I'm just simply going to show you what I have done. This is not a how-to or something you should follow step for step. Please, you're going to assume all the risk on your own. So be careful. Your life is precious. Treat it that way, and any modifications you do your homework beforehand. So let's get into some of the specifications. These 2 outside sticks you can get directly from Hawk Helium. This one is their brand new 30-inch stick. It comes with the suction cups for mounting them. Comes with a Versa button already on them, and you can buy this in 3 or a 4-pack. It wasn't too many short years ago when you can only buy them in a 3-pack. Now you can buy them in a 3 or a 4-pack, and I believe you can buy them individually now. That was something that just was not available just a few short years ago. Over here on this side, we have the brand new Hawk Helium Mini. It is a 20-inch stick, just 2 steps versus 3 steps. It also comes with the Versa button and your suction cups for transport, mounting them together, holding them quietly and securely together. In the center here is a modified stick that I had made. It is a 24-inch stick. It is a 2-step stick. I'm going to get into that just a little bit later. So I just happen to have a tape measure along. We do have the 30-inch stick. It has 3 different steps. And the 30-inch stick is 30 inches as it's advertised. The step distance between here is 13.5 inches. So that's what you can expect with the 30-inch stick directly from Hawk. 30 inches, 13.5 inches between steps. Let's get into the Mini. The Mini here is just a 2-step stick. The total length of the step is 20 inches. And in between your steps here is 18 inches. So on the Hawk Mini, you have a 20-inch step. You have 18 inches versus the 3 steps where you had 13.5 inches. My modified stick here, I had taken a 30-inch step, cut it down to 24 inches long, and I had 23 inches in between steps here. So that's what I had used here the last several seasons. I'll go into some more modifications that I had made with this particular step in just a bit. But let's check the weights of these sticks. So first, we're going to weigh the 30-inch stick. This has all the hardware on it, and it actually comes with a strap to slip over your Versa button. We're going to put the strap and the fully assembled stick and weigh it here. So the 30-inch stick, fully assembled with the strap, comes in at 3.6 pounds. Next we're going to weigh the 20-inch stick. Lay that on there with the strap. That comes in at 2.99 pounds, just shy of 3 pounds, fully assembled. Now my 24-inch stick, I used a rope mod, so we're going to weigh it with that attachment. We'll weigh it with the rope, exactly fully assembled, right ready to climb, and we'll see what that weighs. So that comes right in at 2.79 pounds. So as you can see, my modified stick actually comes in as the lightest of these three, even though it's a good bit longer than what this mini is. The modifications I had made knocked some weight off. You actually get a little bit more length to climb with, but it still weighs lighter than what the mini directly from the factory does. So let's get into some of the reasons why that might be. So as I mentioned, the stick I modified here, I actually bought several years ago. The 20-inch wasn't even an option. This was a 30-inch stick that I cut down. When it originally came, it came with mounting hardware that would look like this. It was a metal mounting, and then it had a hook on the one end. Pretty heavy hook. The strap and this mounting hardware added a lot of extra weight. In fact, I can weigh that here and see how much it weighed. This alone weighed about 10 ounces, so that was a lot of weight that I wanted to get rid of. I went with the Lone Wolf Versa button, and then I went with a rope mod. I used 8mm static climbing rope for my connecting this to the tree, and like I said, I ordered these directly from Lone Wolf, their Versa button. That in itself knocked down a lot of weight compared to what the original mounting system was. Now Hawk came out with their own Versa button, and their strap just has loops on either end. That eliminates that metal attaching point like the old ones had, and also there's no hook on here, so it's silent, less weight, just having loops here on the end of the cord. So that is the new option here with both the 30-inch and the 20-inch from Hawk. A question you might have is, well, can you just simply take off the mounting strap and metal buckle that Hawk gives you and do a rope mod directly with their Versa button? So with the Lone Wolf Versa button, when you have the rope in there, the 8mm one time, and then you pull it in the second time on top of itself, it sort of pinches together and it creates that friction and sort of fastens it together really tight. On this Versa button, when you do that, it doesn't really ever pinch tight against each other. There's just a little bit too much space there. And the Hawk Helium Versa button does not have that taper like the Lone Wolf does. So I would caution you, especially using the 8mm, maybe if you went up a little bit wider, 9 or 10mm, it might work. But I would caution you, maybe you could just switch out for the Lone Wolf Versa button on here. Another thing I wanted to touch on both these 20 and 30-inch sticks is the new suction cup system that's made. You can clamp the two sections together. It sort of holds them there. It cuts down on noise. That is a nice feature, but it does add just a little bit more weight. Something I would personally consider if I was using the Hawk Minis is to eliminate one of those suction cups. You could end up with just one suction cup at the bottom of your stick. When you press that together, up top you're touching the Versa button there. You could attach them with your straps for the Versa button. That would keep it quiet. You still have that suction for the bottom to keep the bottom separated, but the top it would just be plastic touching your metal. Just that little change might only save you several ounces, but when every ounce counts, I feel 2 suction cups on the Mini is a bit redundant. Maybe on the larger stick it would be fine, but that's something I would personally choose to do. You might also consider swapping out the Hawk Versa button for like a Lone Wolf. Then you could use the rope mod with that, and that would also save you a few more ounces versus the strap and the metal buckle. Get a lot of questions on where to buy a rope. You've got to use quality climb rated rope, and like I did say several times, this is 8mm static climbing rope. Definitely want a high quality rope. Remember, your safety and your life is on the line. Don't skimp on cheap rope. One option that does come to mind is here is a muddy safety line or lifeline meant for a tree stand. That is 8mm rope. So if you're looking for 35 or 40 feet, whatever this comes in, this could be a cheap, quick option. You know it's climb safety rated. Of course, you're not using it for their specifications, but a 35-foot length. Each of my ropes here are 6 foot in length, so you want to leave extra here for your knot. That would be an option. You could buy one safety line for $35, $40, whatever it is, cut it down and make 4 or 5 ropes to fit on there. So that's an option, and a place where usually readily available this rope is those Lifeline climbing kits. So that would be one place where you could get your rope for rope mod. Another thing I touched more in depth on in that other video that I posted a link for in my mobile setup is I use a movable aider. And this aider would slip over the top of your stick when you have it mounted to the tree. It hangs down there and then gives you an additional step worth. And like I said, mine is a 24-inch step with about approximately 23 inches in between the steps. This would hang down an additional 23 inches and you could hang it then 2 feet off the ground. So if you could imagine 2 feet between the ground and the bottom of my aider, and then 2 feet from here approximately up to my step. So right there is 4 feet before the bottom step. Then my step, top of it would get me up around 6 feet. So one step gets me 6 feet. And then with my 3 steps, I got easily at 15 to 18 feet hunting height. One thing you do want to be mindful of is that 23-inch step can be a bit of a stretch, especially the colder it gets, the more clothes you have on. Maybe you have your pack, your stand on your back, a little extra weight. Getting that 23 inches steps, especially if you're not very tall, can be a bit of a challenge. That's where this mini actually has 18 inches between steps. That is a good bit difference. And then there's also whether you're using an aider or not. That's going to be determined how far between sticks and how many sticks actually you're going to need. So you can do the math. If you have a 20-inch stick versus a 30-inch stick, or a modified stick somewhere in between, just lay out a diagram on a piece of paper, show exactly how many inches between sticks. Maybe you do have these minis that are only 18 inches, but you feel in between the 2 sticks you could go maybe 2 feet and still reach up there and climb and pull yourself up without using an aider. You can figure in those measurements. It's just simple math at that point to see how high you can get, or with the different options, whether it's the 30, 20, or something in between modified. The last modification I wanted to touch on is something I have never seen anybody mention. Maybe they have done it, but I've never seen a video out there saying they have done this, and it's something very minor, and in the grand scheme of things doesn't make a huge difference, but it's a little thing that I do to all my sticks here, Hawk Heliums. They have these ridges on the steps, gives great traction for your boot, wet weather, snow, whatever. But the ridges, the very last ridge, the one closest into the channel, honestly, you'll never ever get your boot onto there, so it serves really no function. And I find if you ground that very last ridge off, you can use a file, a high-speed grinder to simply take your step out of your channel, grind that very last hump off your step. That allows your steps to fold up and fold together. Even your bottom ones then, they can't fold together because they're touching this channel, but that knocks down almost an inch of width. That doesn't save you any weight or anything, but just the overall profile. You still do have your grips out here that are a fixed width, but why not have them narrower? And especially when it does not affect the function whatsoever, it's not going to affect your grip. Your boot never ever touched that first grip anyhow. That's just going to allow that to fold up compared to what the factory one would be. You can see what the difference is there. It's actually quite dramatic, and I found that just something small you can do, but saves you some width there and maybe aids in your packability compared to having it a good bit wider there like that. So that's just another tip I had, and something else I modified. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'll try and answer them the best I can. Like I said, many different options out there. No one fit is right for everybody. That's why there are different options, and you might not be comfortable with making modifications like I did here. Like I said, you're definitely taking a lot of risk into your own hands doing that, and you have to know what you're doing. You do have many options here from Hawk, and it's nice that they listened and came out with this mini. A lot of guys were asking for that, and for years, guys like me have been cutting down their sticks to make them more mini. But having this actually as an option directly from Hawk Helium is a pretty neat option, and they're obviously listening to their consumers. So that is the video for today. Like I said, if you do have questions, put them in the link down below. I'd love to hear your experiences and maybe some modifications you have done to yours to make them fit and to do what you want to do in your particular situation. Like I said, everybody's different. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video.